You've all been waiting to hear from the original Miss Thing, the one and only Patti LaBelle. But what if I told you that the Godmother of Soul has been keeping her biggest musical secrets locked away for decades? The same woman who gave us Lady Marmalade and made the world cry with If Only You Knew has finally opened up about the artists who shaped her voice, inspired her fire, and even broke her heart. Today, we're uncovering the truth, from secret friendships that changed the music world to feuds that nearly destroyed them. And wait until you hear what Patti really said about one of these legends. It'll leave your jaw on the floor. This isn't just a list of influences. This is Patti's musical DNA. Some of these relationships were beautiful, others messy, and one of them included a comment so shocking it nearly ended a friendship that lasted decades. Think you know Patti LaBelle? Think again. Number 7. Diana Ross. All right, let's start with some diva energy. Diana Ross. Now, most people assume that Patti and Diana were just two icons who happened to rise to fame around the same time. But behind the scenes, their relationship was far more complex and a lot more fascinating. When Patti was still finding her voice after LaBelle split up, she was quietly studying Diana's every move. Insiders say she used to sneak into the Supremes' concerts, not as a fan, but as a student. She was mesmerized by how Diana made disco look elegant and effortless, commanding the stage with that signature grace. Their first meeting, though? Total awkward chaos. A producer who was there claimed Patti was so nervous she could barely speak, while Diana stayed politely distant. But years later, everything changed. During those iconic VH1 Divas live shows, their mutual respect blossomed into a real friendship. Diana's smooth disco influence even helped Patti refine her sound in the 80s, especially on songs like New Attitude. Both women came from girl groups, and both reinvented themselves as solo superstars. But while Diana ruled with glamour, Patti conquered with power. Two queens, two paths, one mutual admiration. Number 6, Lorraine Ellison. Now, this one's a surprise for even hardcore music fans. Lorraine Ellison. Everyone always mentions Aretha and Diana when talking about Patti's influences. But Lorraine? She was the hidden key to Patti's vocal identity. Lorraine was a powerhouse soul singer from Philadelphia, the same city where young Patti was growing up, singing her heart out in church choirs. And here's what most people don't know. Patti discovered Lorraine's music at one of the lowest points in her early career. It happened in the late 1960s. Someone played Lorraine's Stay With Me, and Patti was absolutely blown away. She played that record on repeat, so much that her bandmates joked she was obsessed. A studio engineer later revealed that Patti used to request Lorraine's songs between takes, studying her voice, her phrasing, her emotion. Lorraine had this ability to shift from soft, aching whispers to thunderous, church-shaking power, and Patti learned from that. That dynamic range became one of Patti's trademarks. Even though they rarely performed together, their connection was sacred. Two Philadelphia soul sisters linked forever through sound and spirit. Number 5, Chaka Khan. Here's where it gets juicy. Patti LaBelle and Chaka Khan. They're touring together now on the Queens of Soul tour, but their story stretches back decades, and it's not all smooth. Back in the 1970s, both were carving out solo careers, and the industry tried to pit them against each other. One former Atlantic Records insider even claimed there were label meetings comparing their vocal ranges, deciding which one was the better investment. Behind the scenes, both women were curious about each other's music. Producers whispered that they'd secretly listen to each other's unreleased songs. Chaka once joked that Patti had pipes that could crack glass, while Patti admired Chaka's funky edge, saying it pushed her to get grittier in her own sound. But the rivalry didn't last. In the late 80s, after a private heart-to-heart, they decided to stop letting the industry divide them. From that moment on, they supported one another like sisters. Of course, if you've ever been on their tour bus, insiders say there's still some friendly vocal sparring going on. But that's what happens when two legends share the same mic. Number 4, Gladys Knight Now. This one might shock you. Gladys Knight. Everyone assumes Patti and Gladys are just sweet old friends who love to sing together. But according to those who've been around them for years, there's been decades of quiet competition, subtle shade, and one explosive argument that nearly ended it all. It started back in the 1980s, when both women were fighting to be recognized as the premier female R&B vocalist. Gladys was crowned the Empress of Soul, while Patti was becoming known as the Godmother of Soul. Radio DJs even said their teams requested their songs not be played back-to-back because the comparisons were too obvious. Then came the infamous award show. Rehearsal in the 1990s. A sound engineer swears Gladys made a playful comment about Patti's extra vocal runs, and Patti snapped back that Gladys was too safe. Things got so tense, they had to rehearse separately. But years later, during their Verzuz battle, that tension turned into triumph. They laughed, they sang, and they finally let go of the past. That performance wasn't just nostalgia, it was forgiveness. And now their chemistry on the Queen's Tour proves that even the fiercest rivalries can evolve into sisterhood. Number 3, Nina Simone. This one hits deep. Nina Simone didn't just influence Patti musically, she transformed her as a woman. Patti once said, "I grew up on jazz, and I loved Nina Simone. I loved her voice, and I started singing her song." But insiders say their connection went way beyond admiration. They met in the early 1980s when Nina attended one of Patti's jazz club performances. According to a musician who was there, Nina walked up to Patti afterward and said, "You've got the fire, but you're holding back." That moment turned into an all-night conversation, and from that day on, Nina became Patti's spiritual mentor. She taught Patti how to be bolder, how to demand respect in meetings, and how to never apologize for her brilliance. Before Nina, Patti was polite and reserved. After Nina, she was unshakable. When Nina passed in 2003, Patti sang at her memorial, and witnesses said she could barely get through it without breaking down. Because for Patti, Nina wasn't just a friend. She was a mirror, reflecting the fire she always had inside. Number 2, Mariah Carey Now for a plot twist. This time, Patti wasn't the student. She was the teacher. Most fans know Patti LaBelle is literally Mariah Carey's godmother. But what they don't know is how that bond transformed both of them. When a young Mariah was climbing the charts, Patti became her mentor, helping her navigate fame, record labels, and heartbreak. But surprisingly, Mariah also taught Patti a few things. Mariah's vocal coach once revealed that Patti learned new breathing and preservation techniques from Mariah, the same ones that helped keep her voice powerful for decades. And when Mariah was developing her whistle register, she studied Patti's belts and phrasing in return. Their relationship grew even deeper during Mariah's struggles in the early 2000s. Patti became her rock, her spiritual mother. And Mariah helped Patti connect with a younger generation through social media and new styles. It wasn't just mentorship. It was a musical exchange between generations. Number 1, Aretha Franklin. And finally, the Queen of Soul herself, Aretha Franklin. No list of Patti LaBelle's influences could ever be complete without Aretha. Patti has said it many times. She was the greatest singer in the world, my hero. But their relationship wasn't just admiration. It was layered with emotion, pride, and deep mutual respect. They performed together many times, but insiders say there were moments of quiet tension too. After all, when two of the most powerful voices in music share a stage, sparks are bound to fly. Yet through every misunderstanding, the love remained. When Aretha was planning her funeral, she personally requested that Patti perform. Think about that. The Queen of Soul's final wish was to be sent home by the Godmother of Soul. Patti almost couldn't do it. She was too heartbroken. But when she did, she poured every ounce of love into that performance. Their duet at the 2014 Women of Soul event at the White House was said to be so emotional that both women were in tears afterward. It was two church girls, two warriors, two sisters, standing together at the peak of what music can be.
Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon.